Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I see much people that I would expect for talk around the government. So my first question is there anyone who doesn't talk Spanish? Okay, guys, you have translation? You don't have translation at all. Do you? So do you mind if I do the talk in Spanish, or you prefer me to do it in English? English? Cool. Okay. Is there anyone who doesn't understand English at all? Okay, that's fine. Good. We're improving as a country. So I'm here to talk. This is my Twitter. If you're going to take some photos, please tweet them. So who am I? I'm a coach. I'm specialized in large Agile transitions, like 1,000 people, 500 people, large corporations. I live in London, and I work around the world, mainly in continental Europe. Okay? Currently, I'm working for Capital One. Capital One is a bank. They issue credit cards, and I'm coaching the new capability within Capital One, which is Software Studio. We're creating a new capabilities, new people. We're bringing people in-house, software development. We are avoiding offshoring. And to give something to you today, I brought some candies. So feel free when the conference, when the talk ends, to come and grab some candies and chocolates, courtesy of Software Studio. And if you're looking to move to the UK and work in a Greek company, take a card and send us an email. We're looking for people, and we're looking to double from 60 to 120 only next year. So these are some of my clients. This is just to say that I do a lot of stuff. I don't know why they hire me, but this is good. It looks good to say this are some of my clients. Let's talk about civil service, administration, government. Departments of the government, they have to provide services to citizens. Everyone in this room have to deal at some point with the government. And probably 90% of you do that every day. Government have to provide services to the citizens. Government has to provide efficient and savvy. They have to save money when providing services to citizens. Any one of you has been involved into a project with the government? Please raise your hand. Okay. How many of you will say that it was a huge success? Yeah. Oh, we got a winner. Good. How many of you will say that it was a huge mess? Well, we got some hands. How many of you will say that had trouble, that the government can be agile, can react to changes? How many of you will say that? I say so, okay? So the British government had the same dilemma, is that how can we promote consistency around projects? How can we reduce the risk of spending £1 million in a project and finding out just 6 months later that we need to spend another £10 million? We're Spaniards, many of us are Spaniards, and we know what it is. It's seeing how the government spends thousands and millions of euros just because they can't manage their projects. How can we have higher standards? Building software is not building highways. The British government does projects the same way every government does. They just hire vendors. They get offers from vendors, and they get a vendor that says, oh, this project is going to be £1 million. That project is going to be £2 million. That project is going to be £10 million. The reality is, after a year, they find out that no one is finished, and they have to spend another £20 million. Okay? So how did the British government try to solve that? First thing they did, they created the Government Digital Service. These guys, These guys is a group, they depend on of the government. It's a small, reduced group of very good experts in software development, project management, UX, system, architecture. And they work in an agile manner. They kick off projects. They make sure that projects scattered around all government departments are consistent, are running agile practices, okay? Second thing they did is that they created an agile framework to do projects. So now in the UK, any department can spend £750,000 just to explore in an agile manner a project. They don't have to get approval from the Treasury to do that. They just go and say, okay, we think that there's an opportunity to provide better services in this area, but we don't know yet. So instead of spending £10 million, let's spend 750,000. That sounds familiar? Yeah, it is pretty much something familiar with Lean Startup. Let's explore, let's prove, and then decide if we want to move forward with that. First part of the solution is trying to bring agility to the government. But still we have a second part, a second problem, a bigger one. It's vendors. Vendors are not agile. They don't want to be agile. They just want to come and sell time and materials. They just want to sit, they just want people sitting around, warming chairs, because this is their business. Their business is not doing software. Their business is selling people, okay? How can we promote agility outside in? How can we encourage, not force, encourage vendors to produce good software for the government? DBSA is a driver and vehicle standards agency. It will be something similar to the DGT in Spain, okay? They just care about safety in the roads, standards, okay? So they started a multi-million program to update all existing software and develop new capabilities, new software, trying to detect new opportunities to provide better services to citizens. I worked with the DBSA for 6 months, and it was pretty interesting because the way they did it, they manage agility through DevOps, through infrastructure. What they did is hiring a vendor who was going to be doing all the DevOps, all the business infrastructure, nothing else, no development. And this vendor had to provide artifacts and ways to make sure that all the vendors doing development were agile. Deliver in 2 or 3 weeks, deliver working software, not deliver estimates. Deliver good software based on metrics, based on numbers, not based on a project manager who is telling you, wow, we're doing the best thing here. You don't trust people. When I tell to people that Scrum is not about trusting people, it's about giving the opportunity to be trusted. Because we can show things, we can show factual things. This is pretty much a scheme, okay? Sorry for the graph. I'm very bad with graphs. Very, very, very bad. So we got a vendor, the DevOps vendor, who takes care of reviewing the project since the first line of code. This DevOps vendor puts a test specialist, a person who is a specialist also in software development, with the vendor, and he's checking as an outsider how software is produced. We have a CI/CD approach. So if you want your software deployed, you have to go through that. You have to have a continuous integration server. You have to pass through metrics. You have to have 80% unit test coverage. And you will say, what is 80% unit test coverage? That's bullshit. Yes, that's bullshit. That's the reason we have a person making sure that those tests are actual good tests. We review documentation, bare minimum documentation. They call it path to life. How to deploy the software, architectural things, bare minimum documentation. We're talking about £1 million projects here. And at some point, all the software is handed over to the DevOps vendor, and they take care of it. They take care of deployment, they take care of support, okay? So we got two vendors collaborating with each other, and sometimes fighting. Because the DevOps vendor, what they want is just to have better software. And the development vendor wants to build as many hours, as many days as possible. But the thing is, what we get at the end is good software, deployed and working software. We have artifacts, a lot of them. We have software assurance reps, these people who come and see, okay, these guys are doing the good. They do the reports to the directors, and they say, this vendor is not working. They're doing shitty software. The software is not enterprise-wide software. We got metrics by sprint reports, path to life documentation. We measure in working software. The vendor gets paid if they are producing working software, not if they are producing documentation. Estimates on remaining features. You get a budget, you got a burn up, and you know what you're going to have in estimation at the end of the project, okay? Remaining budget, cross-project artifacts. These are some of the artifacts we're using. This is 5 projects, actually, in the program. And we have health, coding rules conformance, complexity, unit testing coverage, API test coverage, testing health, manual review, database scheme review, application security, and infrastructure security. You get a dashboard of your project done by your DevOps vendor telling you how well things are. No more meetings around bullshit. These are numbers. This is good software. This is a project in detail. Some comments around the architectural design, code quality, testing, library usage, and security vulnerabilities. We got experts in software security coming and testing the software produced. These are metrics. Some of you will be familiar with this software. And it provides you metrics, lines of code, coding rules compliance, issues, technical debt. We use this as a way to see the health of the projects. I haven't been in any Spanish department who has something similar to this. You ask, how is the project going? And they say, good. We have spent only €1 million extra this year in the project, so it must be good. I'm coming from Andalusia. In Andalusia, we have Diraya. It's a healthcare software that helps manage all the histories from the people and everything. They've spent €65 million doing a user interface for a database. €65 million. And they had to rip it off and start again. They got 21 vendors involved. It didn't work at all. Things that we apply here, you know this, is how to apply the values and principles from the Agile Manifesto in a very simple manner. When I go to conferences, I see talks about big frameworks with a lot of things. I always think more complexity is more problems. What I show you today is really simple. It's divide the work, have someone who takes care of the infrastructure, have someone who takes care of the development and make those two collaborate. Have some artifacts to make sure that that collaboration is transparent, that you can inspect, and that you can adapt. No more. You can build as many Agile ways of working as you need, as long as they are based on Agile principles. No matter what you do. This model can be applied to government and can be applied to any company in the world. We're trying to apply this model now to private companies and make sure that the collaboration between DevOps and development is well managed. Because the objective at the end is producing better software. Thank you. I'm a coach. I help building Agile cultures. Obviously, you can hire me, or you can give me a ring or something. Or you can, bullshit about me in Twitter. That's fine. Thank you very much. Questions? We got 1, 2. Yeah. He had a question, and he had a question, so we can start here. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing this with us, Jerónimo. Can you please go to the metrics slide for a moment?
This one?
Yep. Is there any value indicator?
In terms of business value?
In terms of business value, in terms of, I don't know, in terms of points, in terms of something? I mean, any indicator really related to business?
No. No. No, there's no indicators. This is ongoing work, and at the end of the day, software is produced, and we can make sure that someone has asked for that. But there is no value indicator at the moment. These are software metrics only. Hello. Okay, can you speak louder? Or if you want me, I can go and
Have you handled the conflict between the partners when there's a bug or a problem and you have, the issue of my local environment works and it's yours? I mean, if the DevOps partner says the infrastructure is okay and the dev says the application is okay, but it's not working, how do you handle the problem when the actual issue is between them?
Yeah. I see many examples of that. Do you let them self-organize? You're acting as a facilitator for them, and you pay. You don't mediate. Because if you mediate, you're part of the conflict. You're a part of the conflict as well. So you just let them self-organize. If the DevOps vendor is telling me that we have architectural issues, and they're insisting on that, I will have to talk to the development vendor and say, we have architectural issues. And they will have to prove both of them, why there is architectural issues and why it is not. But you let them self-organize. How do you manage a conflict between two members of the team? First thing you do is let them self-organize. And if you need to take part, you take part based on facts, on actual facts. Did I answer your question? So this is at the end, is Agile. What do you do when two members of a team have a conflict? You let them self-organize. You let the team decide. You ask other vendors who are involved into the development of the same product, what do you think is happening? And you facilitate them. And I want to make a point, and is that it may be seen as if, it may be seen as, well, everything is happiness now. Happiness with this. No, there's no happiness. But we can inspect, we're transparent now, so we can inspect and adapt. When you implement Agile, Scrum, Kanban, whatever thing in an organization, but at least you can manage that, and you can handle that. And I see vendors with a lot of problems, a lot of them, because they are thinking the old way. Time and materials, people warming chairs, producing the most shitty software you've ever seen, copying and pasting. But that's the problem. This is not your problem. At least you know now. Problem is that at the end, when you don't have anything to rely on, like this, you have to trust. And because, you know, the engagement manager from the vendor was your high school mate, you're not going to say, hey dude, oh, you know, your team and all that stuff. No, you have facts. And these are the facts. This is empirical process control. This is what Scrum is based on. No big frameworks, no a lot of artifacts, no hierarchies and layers and all that stuff. Simple things. Questions? We have two questions, three questions. Yeah?
I have two questions. The first one is, do you rely on sprints or something in order to participate with the vendors in the retrospective or something? Or do you involve just in case of problem? Or do you handle regular meetings?
Okay.
And the second question is, just as CITIL or Bridge2 was released to the world by the British government, do you expect something to go out from this in the similar manner? To a model like you explained, standard or something to be released?
Okay, first thing is I'm not the maker of this model. I just thought it would be interesting to bring it here, okay? And I've been working within the model. So first question is that how the vendor manages the sprints, or if they have sprints, or they're doing a Scrum, or they're doing a Scrum Bound, or they're doing Quarter Scrum, or they're doing shared. This is the problem, okay? I don't get involved in that. So the department doesn't get involved in that. Why should? Although I may decide to do some retrospective, this is up to, you know, DBSH was involved in that. But some departments were. It depends. You can have someone from the government digital service to come and see how it's working and make suggestions. But at the end of the day, you're a vendor, you're a company. I'm hiring a company that makes software. How you do that software is your problem. I work with software. Okay? Models. I don't know if this is going to become a model. I think that this model, so I know that this model has some things from the US, and I don't believe that there's a proper model like a paper around this. That's the reason I brought it here. Because this is something that should be known. This is an actual model that works better than other models. All models are wrong. And probably in 5 years there will be another model that works better than this one. This is not the end. This is a start. Did I answer your question?
I will look.
Say it again?
I will look into the web in gov.uk.
Yeah, go check it. Go check the government digital service web. Yeah. Okay. We have one more question. No, not at all. I'm going to be very quick. Okay, it's going to be very quick. We got the microphone there, and we can turn afterwards.
No, my question was very small. It's just one DevOps vendor and n development vendors. What's the vendor structure?
Okay. That's an interesting question. I'm going to be very quick. In the model, in what I've seen, there was one vendor in DevOps, 1 to N. Okay, but maybe differences in other agencies. I don't know all the agencies. So thank you very much for being here. Make sure that you get some candies, some chocolates from Software Studio, and thank you.